Hello YouTubers, I'm Parvez and welcome to Django Authentication Framework. So in this video we are going to talk about different concepts in Django authentication. For example, in this video we are going to first create basic authentication in Django. After that we are going to create examples on class-based views authentication that are built in Django. Like we will talk about how you can use login view, how you can use logout view, how you can use a password change view, and also how you can use password reset view. So this will be a complete video on Django Authentication Framework. Also, if you're new to Django framework, I have a complete series on Django. It's a complete beginner series. It's a one video and about more than 4 hours training on Django. So I have added the link to the video description. You can check that video also. Now let's get started with Django Authentication Framework. Hello YouTubers, I'm Parvez, and in this video we are going to talk about Django Authentication Framework. So before starting our main topic, if you're a beginner level to Django framework, you can just check my 4-hour training on complete Django. So I have added the link to the video description. You can check that video. Now Django comes with a built-in authentication framework that can handle user authentication of sessions, permissions, and also user groups. And also the authentication system includes some views for common user actions that we will see in the later part of this video, like login, logout, password change, and also password reset. So when you create first time Django project, now the authentication framework is located in your settings.py, and it's located at django.contrib.auth and is used by Django contrib package. Now if I have already created my project, and also I have created an app. My project name is my project and my app name is my app. So if you see settings.py, and if you come down, so and you can see we have it's located in the installed app. We have Django.contrib app, and if you see in the middlewares, now in this section you can see we have session middleware in this section, and also we have in here we have auth.middleware.authentication middleware. So now we are going to work on a basic example of authentication framework. So first of all, let me just do python manage.py and migrate. Let me first of all migrate, and after that I will show you a basic example of authentication framework. Okay, so also before this, I'm going to just create a super user because I want to work with that. So you can simply write python manage.py and create, so create super user, and you can give a username. So let me just leave it blank, and also you can give email address. So let me just give an email address, and also you can give a password, so like this, and let me just give it password again. Okay, no problem, and you can give it Y. So super user created successfully. Now after this, I'm going to just open my forms. I'm going to just create another Python file in my app that I have created. I call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it form.py. So I'm going to just create a simple form. So from Django import forms, and now I'm going to just create a login form in here that extends from forms.form. We are not going to use model form, we are going to just use the basic form. And now I'm going to just give a username, so forms dot car field, and the max length is, for example, 100. And also I'm going to just give a password, so forms dot car field, and the widget is, because it's a password now, we need to change the widget to forms dot password input. So forms dot password, so forms dot password input. Okay, now we have created our form. Now after this we are going to just open our views.py, and in here we are going to just create our view. So the first thing we need some imports. So from Django.contrib.auth, so I've said that our authentication is related to this package, and from this package we are going to import basic authentication. So import authenticate, and also we are going to import login like this. And after this we need to import our form. So from .form we are going to import our login form, and also we need an HTTP response. So from Django.http we are going to import HTTP response. Okay, now we have created imported our required classes. Now after this I'm going to just create a def login user request. So let me write request, and now in here I'm going to first check my request. So if request dot method is post, I'm going to just create the object of my the login form in here, and I want to pass the request dot post, because my form will go through a post method. Now after this we need to check our form, that if our form is valid. So if form dot is valid, now if our form is valid we are going to just use form dot clean data, and we are going to get our data, our clean data, and after this we need to authenticate our data. So we are going to use authenticate. Now in here the first thing you need to add the request, and after this we are going to just use our username, because we want to authenticate against username and also password. So you can give your username in here and also password. So cd, and this is our password. Okay, now after this also we need to check that if our user is not nan, and if we have a user. So you can simply write if user is not nan. If our user is not nan, we are going to do our login process. So we want to add a request in here, and we are going to add our user information in here, and also we are going to simply just return an HTTP response, and we are going to say that authentication was successful. And if there in the else case we are going to just say that we need to just return an HTTP response. Let me just return this, and we are going to say that authentication failed, please try again. Okay, now also we need to create an else from for our this if form is dot valid, or we need to create for that, or for the not that for our request dot method is post. So let me just create another else in here, and in this else case we are going to just bring our login form again. So login form like this, and then we need to return our render. So we are going to just return render request, and this is login.html, and we need to pass our form and form like this. Okay, now I'm going to just create my form login.html because we are going to just use login.html in here. So now first of all I need to create a template in here, and okay, now we are going to just create a templates folder in my project. I call it templates like this, and I need to create an HTML file. I call it login. So it is my login.html. So one important issue when you're going to create your templates in your settings.py, let me just open, you need to add in the there's section. So you need to add your templates. So templates like this. Okay, now after this, in the body section, I'm going to let me just change the title to login, and in the body section I'm going to just create an h1 tag, a login, and now let me just create a p tag and say please login using your valid credentials. So credentials like this, and after this I'm going to just create a form action. So form action, okay, form action, and now let me just give the method, and the method is post, and okay. So now in here I'm going to just first I need to create CSRF underscore token. So because when you're going to work with forms you need to do this because of some cross-site attacks. So now in here I'm going to just write form dot as underscore p. So using this you can just simply print your form as a paragraph, and this form is related to our views that we have used in this section. And now in here I'm going to just create an input type. So input type to submit, and the value is login like this. Okay, now after doing this I need to just run my server, and so python manage.py run server. Okay, so before running server we need to add our route. So first of all I need to create my route, and in my app I'm going to just create another Python file. I call it urls. So .py, and this is my main urls.py, and in this section I need to include my .urls that I have created. So let me just add include in here, and I need to add a path. So now you can just simply include your my app .urls. Okay, after doing this let me just copy all of them and paste this in here. I need to just remove this, and I'm going to just remove this, and so let me just remove this, and I need to import. So from .views I'm going to just import login user, and I need to do the login user in this section. So login user, and let me change this to, for example, whatever you want. Let me just make it like index. So now I'm going to just run this. So python manage.py run server, and I'm waiting for my server. Okay, now let me just check this, that localhost 8000, and I need to go to localhost. So page not found, And okay, so let me just remove this. So this is because our index, and I think we don't need to do this. So now it's refreshing, reloading my my project, and now if I check this, okay, so now you can see we have just a simple login, and you can see please log in using valid credential. If I don't write anything and if I log in, so you can see we have the validation from the browser. Now we don't want the validation from the browser, we want the validation from the Django forms. So for right now, if I log in, you can see it's telling me that please fill out this field. Now for this, if you want that to remove the validation from the browser, you need to open your login.html, and where you have your form, and here you can add no validate. And using this, now if I refresh my project, now let me just wait for the reloading, and now let me just refresh this, and if I log in this time, you can see I'm receiving this field is required and this field is required. So these validation are from the Django forms that we have created. Now for example, if I write something wrong, for example wrong username and also wrong password, for example like this, and if I log in, okay, you can see authentication failed and please try again, because we don't have that username and password. Now if I write the correct username, so, and the correct password that I have created in my for my super user, and if I log in, you can see authentication was successful. So like this you can use just simple authentication in Django. Okay guys, so we have saw the basic authentication in Django. Now if you remember, I have said that Django includes several forms and also views in the authentication framework that you can use. For example, we can use from login view, from logout view, we have a password change view, we have a password change done view, we have a password reset view. So these are the views that are built in Django Authentication Framework. Now if you see the Django documentation now in here, you can see that these are the views. We have login, logout, password change done, password reset done, and like this, and this is confirm, and this is the reset complete. So like this, now we are going to use these login and logout. So now let me just open my project from the previous part, and in here in the urls.py, this time instead of doing let me just comment this, and there are different ways that you can configure this. So if you see Django documentation, the easiest way is that you can just include the django.contrib.auth.urls. So using this, you can access, by including this, you can access to all these views in Django. And if you don't want to access to all views, you can add the views differently. For example, for the password change view, you can just add a path, and you need to import from django.contrib.auth, import views as auth view, and you can access to password change.as view. But if you want to access to all features of Django Authentication Framework, you can use the include. So now let's get started. I have commented this. Now let me just show you first. I'm going to add a login view. So in here you can simply add path. So sorry, I need to add the path in here. So path, and let me add accounts, and this is login. So the first thing we need to import this. Now let me just show you the import. So from Django dot contrib dot auth, we are going to import auth view. We are going to import views as auth underscore views. So like this you can use, and in here you can just simply for example, we are going to use login view, and you can say auth views dot login view dot as view, because it is a class based views, so we need to use as view. And also you can give a name in here, so for example login, like this. Okay, now after doing this you need to create another folder in your templates that's called registration, because by default the django.contrib.auth.views.login view, or for example logout view, will try to render the registration login.html or logout.html. So by this reason we are going to just create another folder in here, or directory, and I'm going to call it, I need to call this registration. Make sure that the spelling is registration. And after that, in the registration, I'm going to just create another HTML file. I call it login.html, like this. Okay, so now in the login.html we are going to just add our basic template. So now let me just add this, resume the video and add, because the video will be longer. Okay, now you can see in the body section I have a form action, the method is post, and I have used CSRF token, and after that I'm going to print my form using form.asp, and it means as paragraph. Now Django uses the authentication form from that's located at the django.contrib.auth.forms by default, so this form comes from there. Now after this, let me just refresh my page. Okay, now you can see page not found, because we need to go to accounts and login. So accounts, login, we have accounts, login, the current path. Let me just check my urls.py. So urls.py, my app.urls. Okay, I have accounts and also I have a login, so now I need to add this in here. Okay, so now I'm waiting for the reloading. Now if I go to accounts login, okay, I have redirected to the login of Django. So okay, now for this let me just go to accounts login. Okay, now okay guys, so it's redirecting me to Django administration, and it's because in my urls.py I have made a mistake, so I have used logout view, and this is login.as view, because in the first view you're going to work on the login view. Okay, now if I go to accounts login. So it's reloading. Let me just wait for the reloading. And if I refresh my page, you can see that I have a username and password. Let me just add in the login.html. I'm going to just add an h2 tag in the body. So let me say login, and in the p tag, please log in with your valid credentials. So credentials. And now let me just refresh this. Okay, now if I log in like this, okay, so we need to because I don't want to use the web browser validation, so in here I need to add no validate. So using this, you will not receive the validation from the browser. Okay, now if I log in, you can see this field is required. If you remember, I have created and from my previous part, I have created a super user. So I think it is and this is my password. And if I log in, okay, because we don't have any when we log in, we need to create another page. So for this, I'm going to just create another page. Now it's working and there's no problem. Also in the settings.py in here, you need to add a redirect URL to the login page. Now let me just add in here. So we are going to add login redirect URL because we want it should be redirect to our, for example, to our index or like this. Now if I let me just refresh my page and I go to login, and I'm waiting for the reloading. Okay, so login. If I log in, so because please please log in, this field is required. And for example, let me just first add if I add a wrong username and password, if I log in, okay, you can see please enter a correct username and password. Note that both fields may be case sensitive. Okay, now we are going to in our template, so and not in registration, in the templates we are going to just create another template called base.html. So let me call it base, and also I'm going to just create another template in here, and I'm going to call it for example whatever you want, index, or let me just I'm going to call it home.html. okay, now in the base.html, let me just and you can add, let me just in the body I'm going to just add a block, so block body, and let me end the block. You can use template inheritance, but let me just use the basic. Okay, so now in our home.html I'm going to just remove all of these, and I'm going to just create a block body, and I need to end the block. Okay, now in this home.html I'm going to just authenticate the user. So let me just create if, so if user dot is authenticated, so authenticated. So if the user is authenticated, we are going to just say for example welcome, and in here we are going to just add the username of the user, so user dot username, like this. And also I'm going to, okay, so for right now we haven't worked with the logout, and in the else case, so let me first end if, so end if, and in the else case I'm going to just add a link, so URL, and I want to redirect to the login. So like this, and also let me just add a login in here. Okay, now let me just now run this, and if I go to login this time, I'm going to add my correct username and password. So if I log in, okay, page not found, and let me just check that where is the problem. Okay guys, so the problem is here that we have created our home.html. Now we need to tell to Django to render this HTML. Okay, now in the URLs we need to add this in the URLs in this section. So first I need to import, so from Django dot views dot generic dot base, I'm going to import template view. Using template view, I'm going to just render my this template. So in here you need to just add a path, so and template view dot as view, and in here you need to add your template name. So my template name is home.html. So home.html, like this. And also you can add a name if you want. Let me just add a name in here, so the name is home. Okay, so like this we have added. Now let me just refresh this. Also in my login.html, in my home.html, I have a syntax error of HTML. Let me remove this and login. Okay, now if I refresh my page, okay, now you can see we have a welcome Parways. This is because redirecting to the index page, because in the setting.py we have said that we have redirected using login redirect URL. Okay, now so right now we don't have our logout. So for the logout, we are going to just first create a views in the urls.py. Now this time I'm going to just use another way of configuration of the class-based views authentication. Now instead of doing this, we are going to just add, so let me just show you in here. We are going to just add a file from the we are including a file from the django.contrib.auth.urls, and after adding that, if you see the documentation of Django, so using this, let me just add, copy and paste this in here. Okay, like this. So now using this, also we need to import include in here. Okay, now using this you will access to all views from the authentication, so you can access to all of them. Okay, so now if I go refresh my page again, you will see there will be no problem. Let me refresh this, there is no problem. And okay, so now we want to add for example a logout. For right now we don't have any logout in here, and if you want to log out, you can use localhost 8000 admin, and you can log out from here, and like this. And now if you log in, so you can see you can log in here like this. Okay, now for adding logout, we are going to just use our home.html, and we want to add our logout in here. So if the user is authenticated, we are going to say user.username, and also we need to add a logout link in here. So yeah, okay, in now we need to add URL, and our URL is logout. And this is if you see Django documentation, this is the name for our logout view. And now if I refresh my page, my Django project, okay, right now I'm not logging, and if I write something, so if I leave it blank, you can see I have a validation. And if I write a wrong username and password, and if I log in, so you can see please enter a correct username and password. And if I add my correct username and password like this, and if I click on login, you can see now we are on the login. And if I again click on the logout, so I'm logout, but I want that it should bring for me. So now let me just check this. Okay, also I think I need to add my logout redirect URL to the settings.py. So let me just copy this and paste it in here. This time it is a logout. Okay, so for the logout I want it should be in my home, or we can call it index. Now this time if I reload my project, so now I'm waiting, and let me just first go to login, and let me add my username and also my password and click on the login. Okay, now I'm on the login page. If I click on the logout, so you can see I'm logout, and now you can click on the login for the login. So let me just also in my login.html or in my home.html, okay, no problem, you can just use like this. You can add more. If I click on the login, now I can log in again, and I have a logout, and you can log out from here, and you can click on the login. So like this you can work with the login and logout views, class-based views in Django. Okay, now in this part we are going to learn that how you can change your password. So for this we are going to just create in our registration.html, we are going to just create two HTML files. So let me just create an HTML file, and I call it you need to call this password underscore change underscore form. So this is my form for changing of my password. And okay, also I need to just create another HTML file in here, and I call it password underscore change underscore done. Now we've created I have created in here I have created a simple base.html. Let me just use this for example. Okay, let me just first I'm going to work on the form. So first I need to extends base.html, and in here I can use for example block body, and I can end the block. Okay, so now for in here the first let me just create an h1 tag, and I call it change the password. And after this I'm going to just create a form action, and the method is post and we need to create a CSRF token, so CSRF token. And now we need to print, or for example we need to show our change password form, so you can use form dot as p, okay. And also I'm going to just create an input type button. So input type, let me create submit, and the value is change password. Okay, uh, so now we have created our password change form. Now we need to create password change done. So the password change done, it is a simple HTML. So let me just copy this and paste it in here. Let me just remove all of them. Okay, now let me first change the h1 tag, and I'm going to just say that password change done, like this. And okay, now after this I'm going to just create a a tag, and I'm going to say that your password changed successfully, like this. Okay, so now let me just save this, and I will check that it's working or not. Now let me refresh this, and you need to go to accounts, and you need to find the password change. So it is the name, the default name that's used for changing of password. Now if I hit enter, you can see we need to first log in. Let me now log in here, and after that I will see the password change form. So let me just log in here. Okay, now you can see we have the change the password, and now you can add your old password. So let me just add my old password, and in here you need to add your new password. So also you need to add your new password. So these are default by Django Authentication Framework. That is these are the validation that it's telling that your password can't be too similar to your other personal information. It should be at least 8 characters, and commonly used password can't be entirely numeric. So now if I click on change password, it should bring me this form. So after doing this, it should bring me this password change done, and now you can see that password change done and your password changed successfully. Now if I go to login, so let me just open login. Now if I write my previous password, so let me just say, and if I log in, you will see that I am receiving incorrect username and password. If I write my new password that I have changed, and if I log in, you can see that welcome Parvez, and we can log out. So like this you can use password change view from Django Authentication Framework. In this part we are going to learn that how you can reset your password. So you have start changing of the password in Django Authentication Framework. Now let's get started, and we are going to create our resetting password. So before starting our password resetting, so you need to add some configuration in your settings.py. So it is the SMTP configuration. Now I have a video that how you can send email from your Django application to your Gmail account. So you can check that video. I have added the link to the video description. In this video we are not going to use any SMTP server. I'm going to just use the backend.console for testing of this. So in here I'm going to tell that if it's not in the back, we are going to use our real SMTP server. So this is for Gmail, but you can change this according to your SMTP server. So this is the backend, host user, host, port, and this is your password that you want to add. And in else case, so if it is in a debug mode, not production mode, we are going to use Django.core mail backend.console for testing our application. So now we need to add some HTML files. So it will be 4 HTML files, I think. So the first one, HTML file that I want to add in the registration folder, that is password reset form. So password reset form.html. So it is the form for resetting of our password. Now in here, let me just write my code for the resetting of password, and let me just copy this. Okay, let me change the h1 to password reset, and also you can say in the p tag that you can reset your password using this form. And now in here we are going to create a form action. The method is post, and in this section we need to show our form as a paragraph. So first of all, I'm going to just add the CSRF token in here, and after this I'm going to just add print my form dot asp. Okay, so now this was a resetting form. Now after this we are going to create another HTML file that is called, so let me just create, so that's called password reset email. So password reset email. Okay, and in here you need to just let me just copy, or even you don't need to add block in here, or you can just in here say that password, so let me add a block. Okay, you can say that password reset for email, and in here you need to add the email, follow the link. So what you want to add, I'm going to just add this text in here. After this, now we need to add the protocol in here. So let me add the protocol, and also the domain. So domain, and now we need to add the URL. So URL, and in the URL we are going to just find the password reset confirm from Django Authentication, and also we have UIDB 64. It is user ID, and the last one is the token that we are going to just add in here. So token and token, like this. Okay, and so our password reset email, it's completed. Now we need to create another HTML file that's called password reset confirm. So it is the confirmation for the resetting of the password. So let me just create and call it password reset confirm. Okay, now in here we need to just first we need to check. So let me remove this p tag. Okay, now let me just create that if our link is valid. So if valid link, let me end the if. Okay, so if the link is valid, we are going to just create a form action, and the method is post. We are going to just create our form also in here. So first you need to add so let me copy, if I have in here, let me just copy from this section and paste it in here. Okay, so we are going to just print the form as a paragraph. So if this was the case, now if the link was not valid, we are going to just create an else condition in here. So else, and we need to just add a p tag that password reset email link was invalid. Password reset email link was invalid. You can request a new one like this. Okay, so after this, now we need to create the last HTML file that's called password reset done. So in the registration folder, I'm going to just create another HTML file. This is password reset done, and this is just a basic HTML confirmation for the done. And password reset done, and in the you can so let me just say that we have emailed you instructions for setting your password. Just this is a confirmation. Now after doing this, we need to now add a button in our login.html. Let me open this. Okay, now in login.html, this is my login. I have not added the base.html in here. Okay, so after the form, we need to just create a button for the setting of our password. So let me just create a href, and let me just give URL, and this is the URL name is password reset. And we are going to say that reset password like this. Okay, so now if I refresh my page, so let me just go to login. Okay, now you can see we have a reset password. If I click on reset password, so we don't have the form. You can reset your password using this form, but where is the form? Let me just check this. Password reset form.html. Oh, sorry, this is as p, and we have a problem in here. Okay, now let me just go back to login. Okay, now we have our reset, so let me just go to login, and from there, and if I click on the reset password, okay, now you can see you can reset your password using this form. So I don't know what was my email that when I have created my super user. Let me just check this. Localhost admin, and then the users. Okay, this is the email, so let me just add this email in here. But also I don't have a button in here. I need to add a button in this section because we want to use that button. So in this section we need to add an input type submit, and the value is change password, or you can say reset password, whatever you want. Let me refresh this again, and now let me just add this and click on change password. So password is set done. We have emailed you instruction for setting your password. Now if I check my console, you can see that I have now you can see password reset for this email. Follow the link. Now if I copy this link and I add the link in here, let me paste it in here, and you can see password reset. And in password reset in here we need to have so again I have, I think, problem in my, where is the problem? I think in reset confirm again I have a problem in the form, so it should be as P. And let me refresh this. Okay, now you can add your new password. So let me just add my new password in here. So what was, let me just give it again. Okay, again I have need to add a button, sorry guys. And let me just add this button in here, copy this and paste this in this section, and make this reset password. Let me refresh it again. Okay, now let me just add my new password. If I click on the reset password, now your password has been set. You may go ahead and log in now. So like this you can do, but it should not be redirected to this, because we have our password reset done and we need to redirect in here. So let me just check this, that why we have redirected to our Django administration. Okay guys, so the problem is here that I have forgot to add a password reset confirm password reset complete HTML file in here. So now you need to add another HTML file that is on the completing of our password resetting. So that's called password reset underscore complete. Okay, and we need to just copy the password reset done. Let me just copy this and paste it in here, and let me just say that your password has been sent. Password reset complete. Okay. Your password has been sent. You can say href, and this is, we want to back that to the login, so you can go to login. Okay, login, and you can now log in. So let me close this and say login now, and let me write now in here like this. Okay, so now let me just do the process again. So I'm going to just open my login. Okay, now you can see because now at this time it's completed because we have press the enter, and now you can see password reset complete. Your password has been sent. You can log in now, and you can log in with the password that you have with the new password. So now let me just do the process again that I will show you. So click on the reset password, and you can enter the email address, and you can change the password. Click, and you can see we have mailed you the instruction. And if you check now, we have a mail in this section. So this mail is because we in the setting.py. So in the setting.py we have said that use this. So now use the backend console of Django. Now if I go in here, you can add your new password in here, and you can reset the password. So let me add the new password in here. For example, let me add like this, and let me add another password and reset password. Okay, now you can log in. Your password has been sent. You can log in now. So now you can log in with your new password, and there is no problem. And if I click on the login, now you can see we are logged in. So like this, you can use the reset features in Django authentication.